Continuing from a previous video, one thing that I've forgotten to do at the moment, we are checking that the file that we've uploaded exists on the server. But of course, we're going to have different variations, which means we're going to have a source file plus 4 different versions. And so obviously we should probably check whether these 4 versions also exist on the server. So what we're going to do is we're going to start with our assert database has for the first asset, and then we're going to apply the same thing to the second asset. So for the first asset with the variants, we're going to first assign them to the variants variable. It's going to be first variants within the bracket. So we obviously have this statement, this variants with the first asset argument associated with the first variant, and then we get to JSON to obviously return this to this variance index of this array. So we have first variants. Now with the first variants, what we're going to do is use the each statement. So we're going to go for first variance each, and each variant will represent an array. So function, and we have array variant, and what we want to do is to check that the given file exists. So again, storage facade, and we're going to check assert exists. We're going to use variant, and using array syntax, we're going to get a path of the given file. So that's one. If I just copy all this and we scroll down to the bottom, after the last assert database has, I'm going to paste it, although this is going to look slightly differently. We're going to have second variants, same thing as before. And now what I'm going to do is have all variants equals first variant concatenate, so concat with second variants. And now we're going to do this assert count. We should have now 8 variants, first lot and the second lot. So all variants, we should have 8 of them. And now we're going to use all variants rather than the first variants and do exactly the same thing as before, checking that the given file exists. Obviously, if you run a test, we still get the failed message. So that's something we're going to tackle next. But our test is now complete. Obviously, we're testing for the existence of the original, the source file being available on the server, as well as all the generated variants as well. So the first thing we're going to do next is to create a new service for the file upload. The service that will be reused with many other modules within your system if you obviously decide to have any uploads. Under the app namespace, let's create a new one. We're going to call it services. And here we are going to create a new class, new service called a file upload service. And from here, we are going to have a method called upload, so public function upload. And this method will take the request, our request, which is going to be implementing the interface that we've created earlier, which is asset upload request contract. So we can type hinted request, and it will also take a closure, which will store the processor. We won't be doing this yet, but it will eventually have it, so I'm just going to add it straight away. Let's now simplify this by importing the closure right at the top, and what it will return is the instance of the class, which we don't have yet, and it's going to be called uploaded asset. Now from within this method, we are going to start with file equals this parse file, a method which we are just going to add the stub of for the time being. And here we're going to pass a request file, and from within the request we are going to use one of the methods that we've created in the trade, which represents the name of the field that we are fetching the file via, and then we are going to pass the processor as the second argument to this parse file. So from within the parse method, we are going to get this uploaded file, Illuminate HTTP uploaded file. which is going to be represented by the file variable. And then we're going to have a closure, which by default is null. Now, because we are passing this directly to this method and this method won't be used in any other way, we can remove this equals null and just prepend the question mark to the closure. We're just passing this. By default, it's going to be null. Otherwise, it's going to have a closure anyway. So this method will return the uploaded file as well. So it takes the uploaded file and it also returns one. And we are going to say get uploaded file. Now, why are we using this method? This method is going to be used because if we decide to pass the processor to this upload method, what we want to do is work on the temporary file, the file that has been uploaded to the server before it actually is being saved to the file storage. We want to process it using this closure. So whatever we're going to pass through as a closure, it will do its work on this temporary file before the file is actually being saved to the storage. So what I'm going to check here is simply if is null closure. Actually, rather than closure, let's call it processor as well. Processor. If processor is null, then we simply return file. We're not going to be doing anything else with it. Otherwise, we are going to return new uploaded file. And now this uploaded file will take, if we just click on it and we have a look at the constructor, because we are extending here the uploaded file of the Symfony package, and you will see that it takes the path to the given source, original name, MIME, then error and test. We are only going to be playing with these three constructor arguments. So let's just go back. So first one will be the path to the file, which is going to be returned by calling this processor. We know that obviously processor has a closure and there is something to be done before we actually return this uploaded file. But we will expect from this closure to receive the path to the actual file. So we're going to use call user func. We're going to pass the processor, the closure that we want to call, and then the argument will be the actual file from the request. And then we are going to use file. We will fetch get client original name as the second argument to get the original file name, and then file. To get MIME, we're gonna use get client MIME type. And that's all that we're going to pass to this uploaded file. So as you can see, if we have a processor, we're going to return the new uploaded image instance. Otherwise, we're going to pass through the one that we actually received. So that's our parse file. Then we are going to create a path variable, which will do storage. And now we're going to put file. And this method takes the directory when we want to upload it. So request directory, rather than upload it, save it. And then we're gonna take the actual file, which is representing obviously this uploaded file instance. And lastly, we are going to pass some options. We want to save it to the specific disk. And as you may remember, the request stores this value. So request disk, which we can overwrite obviously within our request if we need to. And then visibility. Request visibility. Now, because I need to use these values, rather than calling these methods again, let's just create the variables. So disk equals request disk, and then we're going to have visibility equals request visibility. And now we can return new uploaded asset, which we don't have yet, which will take the file instance, which is obviously this uploaded, is going to be represent this uploaded file class instance, then path, which we've just generated by calling this storage put file. And we'll also take the disk and visibility. Now let's add some doc blocks. Before we do this, what I'm going to do is, just a second, under the assets, we're going to create this class called uploaded asset. Just going to split screen for a moment. Let's import this class. And let's now add the doc blocks. And we're going to say upload file and save as asset. Okay, and I think that's everything inside of our file upload service. So we can close this file for the time being. Let's focus on this uploaded asset class. We're going to create a constructor, and this constructor will take 4 arguments. The first one will be uploaded file, which is the Illuminate HTTP uploaded file instance. That will be represented by the file variable. Then we're going to have a string path, string disk, and string visibility. Okay, let's update doc block as well. We can probably put them on new line. All these, oh, is it gonna be okay? Yeah, still fine. Okay, so we're going to start with associating them with the properties. File equals file. And then we have this path equals path. We have this disk equals disk. Then we're going to have this actually, before we do this, we're gonna do size as well, equals this. Sorry, it's not gonna be this, it's gonna be a file get size, because we can obtain it from within this uploaded file instance. Then we're gonna go for this visibility equals this this visibility equals visibility, and here not comma but semicolon, obviously. Then after visibility we have extension, so this extension equals file extension. What else we need? We need MIME, so this MIME equals file get client MIME type. And then we're gonna have this original name will be file get client original name. We also want to obtain the directory and the file name itself, and we're going to do it using path info. So info variable first, and then path info. We're going to pass this path as an argument, and now we can do this file name equals info base name, and we're going to have this directory equals info dir name. And we've already tackled this path info. Obviously, if you want to read more about this, go to php.net, search for this path info, and you have all the information here if you're unfamiliar with this particular function. Okay, so going back, one last thing, I want to have a property which will tell us whether the given file is an image or not. So this is going to be this is image equals sub string, and we're going to go for this MIME, and we need to check if it actually has any value, if it's not null. If it's null, then let's just pass an empty string, and we're going to go for 0, 6, and why 6? Because image is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 plus the /, that's 6 characters, and I want to check if we have exactly that. So image with the /. If it does have it, our MIME, then that means it's the file is of the image type. Okay, so now let's add these properties. First one was the file, so it's going to be public uploaded file, and it's file. Why is this highlighting it? Okay, my ID again is playing PHP, and we want the version 7.4. There we go. And then we have public string, which is going to be path. Then we also going to have public string disk. Then we're going to have public integer size. And then we are going to have have original name as well, but let's just go with what we have here. Visibility, perhaps. Public and visibility string. Visibility. Then we have extension as well. Public string extension. After extension we have MIME, public string, but MIME can also be null because this method get client name. If we check this method, you'll see that it returns either string or null. So let's add this question mark at the beginning indicating that it might be null as well, and that's going to be MIME. String or null. And then after MIME we have original file names, so public, and again original file name may also be null because if we click on this method you'll see that's what it returns, so string or null. Going back, question mark string original name. After this we have file name, public string file name. No, it's not going to be mixed, it's going to be string. And then public string directory. And then we have is image, which is going to be Boolean. So public Boolean is image. Okay, and I think that's everything with our uploaded assets. So basically what this is going to give us is going to give us a single instance of the class that contains all the information that we need in order to process our file. Okay, so we can save and close this, and in the following video we are going to create a new service and repository to manage our products.